Attention Central Georgia, it's that time again for the publication of the new 2015-16 Macon Middle Georgia Black Page. So you want to be a part of it because the theme is Make More Green in 2015. Call today, 478-464-0074 and find out how we can help you make more green in 2015.
MakingBlackPages.com.
A little local rant. We want to say hello to everybody out there in radio, TV, and internet land. And of course, I'm a bit more than a little excited today because I have the opportunity to, and I thought I would never do this in my lifetime, but all of a sudden, up pops a guy named Andre McLean, who's a ringmaster. You know, not for a little old local barn, or not for a little old local ranch, but he's the ringmaster for Ringling Brothers Circus, which is one of the largest entertainment circus-type venues in the whole country. So I'm just so happy that they're coming to Macon, Georgia, to appear, you know, at the Macon Centralplex and give us the opportunity to really have a hands-on viewing of the circus. And last time I checked, he's African American, and so that makes it even more dynamic and reasonable. So I'm just so happy to have Mr. Andre McLean, who has a very interesting history, who is the ringmaster for Ringling Brothers Circus that's going to be here this weekend. But first of all, how you doing?
Beautiful. How are you?
I'm outstanding. You know, congratulations.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming to town. I want to give a shout out to Jillian and Hannah, you know, who have worked with us to try to expose this to the community. So first, just tell us a little bit about yourself.
Oh, wow. In a nutshell, I went from the greatest show on dirt to the greatest show on earth. I grew up with the promoting and a rodeo background. So I've been riding horses all my life. I started riding horses around 3 years old, maybe younger than that, but since I can remember. And I started riding steers and rodeos, mutton busting, what they call it back then. And I rode bulls for 10 years, bucking horses for 8 years, and then basically I joined the greatest show on earth. I had a one-man cowboy show where I taught myself how to trick rope, kind of like Will Rogers, and train trick horses, and I had a one-man cowboy show.
Well, that's very, very interesting. So did you begin, I mean, how long have you been ringmaster, and what does that involve?
You know, I've been ringmaster. This is my third year as the ringmaster of the greatest show on earth. I started off as the pre-show host and an animal trainer. So when I first, actually, let's go back before then.
Okay.
Before then, when I first joined Ringling, I wanted to add stilt walking to my repertoire of my one-man cowboy show. So what better way than the circus?
Walking?
Yes.
Still walking? What is that?
So I wanted to learn how to walk on these little pegs, little sticks.
Stilts.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
And so I went from learning 3-foot stilts to learning 12-foot stilts. Wow. And so I learned that at Ringling. And so I came 13 years ago. I had never seen a circus in my life until I came to try to research this. And when I came and I met the talent scouts, I met the general manager, and I showed them what I did, and so they took it even further. So I joined Ringling as part of the barn. I ran their exotic tent. So I was one of the bosses in the exotic tent. And so I went from there to pre-show host, to training animals with the greatest show on earth, to being the ringmaster. So I was kind of built. This show is called Built to Amaze. Right. So I feel like I was built to be the ringmaster. Right. I feel like all these years they trained me and without telling me to be the ringmaster.
Wow. Yeah, I noticed that. They called you in one day and gave you a promotion.
Exactly.
And a check.
Exactly. That check clears the bank.
which is very important. Well, obviously, I think it's very, very unique and noteworthy that you're an African American and you're kind of in a unique field. So talk about African Americans in rodeos, and I know that you were part of a rodeo and even part of the circus, because I understand that you've got another act that's part of the circus that's that's all African American. So, and I think it's important. And I think it bespeaks of that particularly to the young people out there, that you can do anything that you want to do, and that you can be anything that you want to be, and you can go as high as you want to go. You can learn anything that you want to learn as long as you're dedicated and committed. But I want to say very quickly, and then you could tell us about the other acts in the show. He started young. As long as he can remember, he's been a part of this process, which resulted in him being internationally known and making all this money. And he's a young man, and I think because of his drive and his desire, to succeed and to be a part of something that's great, that he's been successful. That's a lesson to you. And my part to you, take it from Papa Shan, start now and go ahead and develop your dream and work hard on your dream, and then your dream can become reality. So tell us about the show and its elements.
Oh yeah, it's this show's a really great. It's an awesome show this year. I mean, it's called Built to Amaze. A lot of people say, I've seen Ringling, I've seen a circus. You haven't seen a circus like this.
Okay.
I mean, it's amazing from beginning to end. I mean, we have the legendary King Charles troupe. They were the first black touring troupe with Ringling Brothers and Barnum Bailey back in the 1960s.
Wow.
And right now we're dealing with the second and third generation of the King Charles troupe right now this year on this unit, on this show. We have 3 different units, red, blue, and gold. In this unit we have that. We have a human trapeze act that I absolutely enjoy. They come to you from Russia and Ukraine. It's a mixed troupe, and it's awesome. Instead of swinging bar to bar, they swing human to human up in the air. So it's amazing. I've been with the show for 13 years. It's my first time seeing an act like this. We have the globe of steel, motorcycles going 65 miles an hour, 360 degrees inside this globe. And we have this one of the guy's wives stands in the middle of this globe as they're traveling around this globe 360 degrees. I mean, I wouldn't have my wife in the center, but, and the crossbow Casanova. I mean, this guy is unbelievable. He takes 8 crossbows, sets them up in the ring. He stands here, like where I'm sitting. He shoots one crossbow, which triggers each crossbow. They hit each other. And then finally, that last crossbow hits an apple that's balanced on top of his head.
Oh, come on, man.
Absolutely crazy, but great at the same time.
Yeah. Okay, well, we're going to break for just a minute because I know you're rushing to get prepared for the show, but we're going to take a break for just a minute. This is a call to action.
A call to
I'm
action.
your host, Alex Havisham, with Andre McLean, the ringmaster of Ringling Brothers. We'll be right back. Tell us, in conclusion, tell us what you do as the ringmaster.
I'm a glorified fan of the circus. I have the honor and the privilege of introducing these amazing acts each and every day. I mean, I get to wear these fancy duds and be the king for a moment. Yeah. But these guys are professional artists. I mean, some of these guys are 6th and 7th generation circus performers.
Wow.
And so I have the privilege of telling their story, as they're performing. So it's an honor.
Yeah. Well, it's an honor to have you. It's an honor for you to grace our town. We want to extend our appreciation to the Fells and Ringling Brothers, and of course Jillian and Hannah for giving us this opportunity. And I know that you'll be an inspiration not only to the community, but particularly to young people, and especially young African Americans who see that you can be anything that you want to be.
That's what it's all about, making dreams come true.
Absolutely.
Making dreams come true.
Absolutely. This is a call to action.
A call to action.
I'm your host, Alex Havisham. Have a great day.
Everybody knows that you're in charge of the Black Pages. It's a great resource for everybody in Bibb County. So tell us what's coming up with the Black Pages.
Well, you know, we've been doing it for a long time. We're into our 24th year of publishing the Black Pages, and since you asked, you know, I thought you wouldn't, but we are launching the activities to produce the 2015-16 edition. So we've begun sales and garnering editorial information for the publication. And what we want to do this year with the Black Pages is, you know, we very recently interviewed Josh Rogers of Newtown, Macon, and, you know, he supported the concept that downtown Macon is really growing, and industries and individuals and businesses are coming back.
The Charles H. Jones Family Foundation and Macon Urban Radio Alliance presents the 19th annual All That Jazz Concert and Ball featuring Stephanie Mills, a legendary Grammy and American Music Award-winning recording artist with 5 best-selling albums and 10 Billboard #1 singles on January 31st at the Macon City Auditorium, 415 First Street in the heart of downtown Macon. It's Stephanie Mills. All That Jazz is the Tubman Museum's largest fundraiser for their education and outreach program. 19th annual All That Jazz Concert and Ball featuring Stephanie Mills.
I think of a place where there's love overflowing.
I guess it's time for us to kind of sit back and take a deep breath so that we can relax and understand and realize the importance of history. And sometimes we are so involved in the hustle and bustle of everyday life until we tend to forget where we came from. And so this is an important time of the year, every year, because particularly for African Americans, it's a time that we kind of reflect on our history. And I'll just tell you that that's one of the problems in our community, is that we've kind of forgotten our history, we've forgotten the struggle, we've forgotten the progress, we've forgotten the responsibilities, we've forgotten the obligations that we have to those individuals, particularly African Americans and some majority Americans, who played a role in the development and the advancement of the Negro race. So I'm more than a little humbled and more than a little happy to be able to bring to you this program today that's going to look at our history, first from a historical perspective with Dr. Thomas Duval, and really from a not so historical perspective, yet historical, from a later perspective with Miss Jerry McCord. So first of all, we're going to let Dr. He has such a vast amount of knowledge about his history, and deservedly so, because he is a Duval, you know, who the family that has a long history of business and community involvement in Macon. So we're going to let him begin by telling a little bit about himself.
I'm Dr. Thomas Duval. I grew up here in Macon, Georgia. My father was William Duval, and my father, along with his father and great-grandfather, ran Paul Duval and Son. It started in 1883 and lasted until about 2001. It at one time was probably the oldest black business in the state of Georgia. We did upholstering, we did awnings, we repaired furniture. Actually, we probably did the chairs we're sitting in right now. But that's my history. I had the opportunity to work in public health. I spent the first part of my career in the prison system. So I learned firsthand where our young men are ending up. And then the latter part of my career, I was Georgia's first African-American state dental director. And along with my duties, one of my duties was water fluoridation. And I ran the water fluoridation program, and of course Georgia has an outstanding track record in terms of fluoridation. Because, for example, California has just in the last 5 to 10 years come on board with fluoridation, and we've had it for years and years. So Georgia has a lot of firsts. And one of the most interesting things to me in my retirement has been researching, first of all, my own family's history, and secondly, the glorious history of Macon and Middle Georgia. The saddest thing to me is that we have a wonderful, glorious history here in Macon, Georgia, but unfortunately our children don't know it. And it's very important for them to learn this history at a relatively young age because they need this history to build self-esteem and to learn, as you've spoken, their obligation to their ancestors. So I've come up with this term, ancestral obligation, African American ancestral obligation. And basically it's just that the old people need to teach the young people, and the young people need to learn the history and accept their ancestral obligation to achieve. So the real goal in my mind in terms of education strategies is to motivate our children to want to learn.
A call to action. I'm your host, Alex Havisham. We are having such an informative and interesting interview about ancestral history, ancestral obligation, and Dr. Duval has some real strong feelings on that, like I do. And we've talked some about some black history, and all of this is so very important, and we are so much in awe about the information that he's telling us until he's got a special announcement as it relates to that. We also have Miss Jerry McCord here of the Ruth Hartley Mosley Center, and there are some current activities that are going to be going on relative to African American history, black history in certain areas. She's going to have some activities that she wants you to attend. But meanwhile, we're going to go back to Dr. Duval and let him kind of wrap up this element, but keep in mind that you will be able to get more of this kind of information. Doc?
Yeah, I was talking to my good friend Wilford Anderson about a month or so ago, and Dr. Anderson, he's a physician now, told me that his dad had been a Tuskegee Airman. What I did not realize was that the man that I grew up with, you know, and I would actually come across on Cotton Avenue, by the way, was a Tuskegee Airman, because there was a bomber group. And most of us have never heard about the bombers that were a part of the Tuskegee Airmen. But anyway, he told me that story, and it's a great story. And I've made arrangements to have this information put in the museum down in Warner Robins. So this is a perfect example of history that most of us don't know about, and we've lived here all our lives, we still don't know about it. And so that's why I've gotten involved with the Ruth Hartley Mosley Center, and Miss Jerry McCord is going to tell us about the activities that we have coming up for Black History Month.
Thank you. And it's good to be here. And when I first came on board at the Ruth Hartley Mosley Center, Dr. Duval and I, we talked, and that was one of the things that we really talked about a lot and had in common, that, you know, we wanted to really do something that was unique and different in Macon and make people in Macon aware, because, you know, we both have talked about, the negativity that's in Macon, especially that it relates to our young people. And we were so committed to want to do something to break that cycle, to change those mindsets. And we came up with our celebration. We want to celebrate Macon's Black history. And we said the word Macon because there's so much history in Macon that we're not aware of. And I'm just so happy to connect with Dr. Duval that have a wealth of information to share with us, and he will be sharing it on a continuous basis during the month of February. But what we're doing here, that's sponsored by the Ruth Hartley Mosley Center, we're having our celebration, like I said, of Macon's Black history in music, in freedom, and in religion. And we have some top-notch speakers and presenters coming in. On the 5th of February, we will have Carla Redding Andrews. That's, if you don't know, the big old Otis Redding's daughter. And who better to tell us about the impact of Macon's Black musical legacy around the world. And, starting with Otis, he was known around the world. And she's going to kind of talk about that perspective of Macon's impact in the music world. And we have on the 12th of February, Julia Ellen Craft Davis, and there should not be a person in Macon that's not familiar with the story of William and Ellen Craft, but I'm pretty sure, as I sit here, there are some people that have never heard of it, just like they've never heard of the Ruth Hartley Mosley Center. So, I'm just emphasizing because I really, really think it's so important, especially for our young people. There got to be some teachers and some principals and some educators and parents that are out there listening to this program. And I urge you to call us and plan to attend these events because, and I'm not going to talk too much about the William and Ellen Craft story because I want you to come and hear the story.
Right.
So, but just know that it is an awesome story about Macon. And, if you want to Google ahead of time, Google, but I'm not telling you because I want you to come and hear it firsthand. And on the 19th of February, we have Marie Jones. Marie Jones is a native of Macon. She lived away for a while, and now she's back in the Middle Georgia area. And she has an awesome story. She's going to tell us the extraordinary story of the Black Methodists and the important role that these churches and the laborers played in building Macon.
Wow.
And I'm sure, like I'm telling you, I am just in awe of what we're bringing to you because it's just such an awesome and phenomenal series. And what better way to have a group of powerful women representing the Ruth Hartley Mosley Center telling Macon's story. And that's why I keep emphasizing Macon's story, because so many people in Macon don't realize that Macon have a story to tell. And
it's a very, very important story. I am so excited. I am so excited about this interview today. I'm excited about Dr. Duval, and he's going to be continuing some vignettes on the show as it relates to this information. I am equally as excited about Sister Jerry McCord here, who's the executive director of the Ruth Hartley Mosley Center. And, and see, this is wholesome. What's that? It's ancestral.
African American ancestral obligation.
You see, it's part of our ancestral obligation to attend these events. We're going to have an event on the 5th, event on the 12th, and an event on the 19th. And we invite the whole community to come to learn about these entities that are going to be discussed. And if you want to know more information, Dr. Duval is chairman of the board of the Ruth Hartley Mosley Center. So Sister McCord knows how to get in touch with him. So all you need to do is to call the Ruth Hartley Mosley Center at 478-742-6409 if you're interested in receiving more information. I want to thank you all. I want to thank you for your interest and your enthusiasm. And I want to encourage everybody, make yourself a committee of one to learn just as much about Black history as you can, and buy into it, that it's your ancestral obligation, to foster Black history and all that it means, has meant, and will mean to our community. This is a call to action.
A call to action.
I'm your host, Alex Habersham. Have a great day.
This was
www.makingblackpages.com.
Attention Central Georgia, it's that time again for the publication of the new 2015-16 Macon Middle Georgia Black Page. So you want to be a part of it because the theme is Make More Green in 2015. Call today, 478-464-0074, and find out how we can help you make more green in 2015.
The Charles H. Jones Family Foundation and Macon Urban Radio Alliance presents the 19th annual All That Jazz Concert and Ball featuring Stephanie Mills, a legendary Grammy and American Music Award-winning recording artist with 5 best-selling albums and 10 Billboard #1 singles on January 31st at the Macon City Auditorium, 415 First Street in the heart of downtown Macon. It's Stephanie Mills. All That Jazz is the Tubman Museum's largest fundraiser for their education and outreach program. 19th annual All That Jazz Concert and Ball featuring Stephanie Mills.
I think I'll